Hi, it's Feculus here. And I was at a gathering a couple of weeks ago, and there were some people there who found out what I do for a living, and they were asking questions about riding horses. And I found that they ask the same questions. Like all the people that I've known for the last 3 decades pretty much always ask the same question. And the first question is usually, is it a dangerous sport? And you know, if you take the insurance actuary tables and you remove like thoroughbred racing and 3-day eventing, all of the really high speed, high octane kind of sports that involve horses. If you remove those from the actuary tables, you would be surprised how undangerous riding really is. The kind of riding that most people, when they're starting out, especially if they're starting a little later in life, the kind of riding that most people are going to do, it's not that dangerous. Like another question you usually get asked is it hard? You know, and I mean, that's a difficult thing to answer. I sound sort of wishy-washy, but it is a difficult thing to answer because it depends what you mean by hard. It is the kind of sport that you can spend a lifetime doing it. Like I know people who play golf and they can get obsessed with golf, and riding can be the same way. You know, if you decide that all you want to do is sit on a horse and go on a trail ride, you know, then that's pretty much it's the horse that has to be the professional at that point. He has to figure out how to carry you on the circuit that is the trail ride and get you safely back to your car so you can go home. That doesn't take a lot of skill. If you could kind of sit there and hang on to the front of the horn or something, you're good to go. But if you want to ride a horse and actually communicate with the horse, have that kind of connection to the horse, that's going to take a little bit longer and it is a little bit harder, but it's really worth it. You will find, like this has been my experience with beginner riders, the first time a beginner rider has that moment where they ask the horse for something, whether they ask correctly or not, they're doing their best to make a clear request of the horse, and the horse does it. I'll tell you, it's a very moving experience. I find it very moving even after all these years. She has an itch. You got it? There you go, that's better. I find it like when I see my school horses, you know, trying to figure out what a beginner rider is saying and actually try to do it, I just think it's wonderful. And most people, when they have that experience, it just opens up a whole new world for them of that connection to the horse, to nature, all of those things, and it becomes really compelling at that point. So even though it may take a long time to do it really, really well, and it may be kind of hard to do it really, really well, it's great fun to try to achieve it. Another question we get asked all the time is riding exercise? Tell you, if you do it, you'll know the answer. I remember years ago, Kenneth Cooper, he wrote a book called Aerobics or something, and what he did was he assigned points to certain activities. So you might get a certain amount of points for cutting your grass, or a certain amount of points for vacuuming, or going for a jog, or pushing the baby stroller down the sidewalk, whatever. He had assigned all these points. And at the end of the book, he had a question and answer part of his book. And one of the questions that was asked was, how many aerobic points do I get for riding a horse? To which Kenneth Cooper answered, none. The horse gets them all. To which I said, my goodness, you can tell that Kenneth Cooper has never ridden a horse before, because you will find it is an aerobic activity. And like they did a study in Europe, and I can't remember which country, I believe it was the 2000 Olympics anyway, and they studied all the Olympic teams from this country, and the two teams that came out as being the fittest of all of them was the soccer club and the dressage team. So in other words, the horseback riders and the guys running around in the field chasing a soccer ball, they were the most fit of all of the Olympic teams, which is a remarkable thing, really. But riding can be an aerobic sport for sure. But besides, is it dangerous? Is it hard? Does it take a long time? Is it exercise? The one thing that I always recommend to beginner riders, even though they rarely ask about this, is I would suggest that they learn as much about the horse as possible before they embark on this adventure. You will enjoy it so much more if you understand the horse a little bit. You'll be safer if you understand the horse a little bit. And it doesn't take that long. You can learn all this stuff in the comfort of your chair before you even go to the barn. And once you understand the horse a little bit more, it makes your riding experience better. And you will know enough to see, like if you go to a farm that you've never been to before and you're going to take lessons and you've never done that before, it's kind of nice to have an understanding of what you're looking for in a well cared for horse. Like the last thing that horse lovers want to ever do is go to a place, support a place or whatever that doesn't treat the horse as well. But if you don't know enough, you might not know, right? So I always recommend to people, learn a little bit about horses before you go looking for a place to ride, because you don't want to get kind of sucked into a place that doesn't match your ethics. And so if you have a little bit of knowledge, you can avoid that. if you're watching this anywhere besides at our blog, which is ismyhorsehappy.com, go on over there, scroll down, leave me a message, especially if you're a beginner rider, and let me know if there was any other questions that you have that I didn't cover here. And in the meantime, have a wonderful week. Remember to thank your horse, and we'll talk to you soon.